So thinking about forthcoming independence referendum, and Stuart, you've talked a lot about it and quite vocal on Twitter about it, things like that. Is there unanimous agreement in the Mogwai camp over Scottish independence?
I think so.
Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable banging on about it if it was something only me that I felt. So obviously it's quite a big thing, but yeah, I think so.
Do you discuss these sorts of things when you're in, is there sort of long expositions on Scottish history, nationalism and the tours?
No.
Conversations tend to
Short.
People
be short.
would be horrified if they had to spend 5 minutes and listen to what we talk about in the van. Absolutely horrified.
Yeah, I'll do what I can. I don't really know what the views of a guitar player in an instrumental indie band is going to do to swing the vote, but
Did you not actually write something about it? And a politician went to Twitter and asked why your opinion is any more valid than
then
Than
a
a
plumber.
plumber.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
he's not even a politician, that guy.
is it not?
Apparently he's the guy that Malcolm Tucker's based on.
Wow.
But Malcolm Tucker has a modicum of wit, and this guy is a fucking idiot. So, yeah, I'll do what I can.
Was it something you all grew up with, that sort of awareness of Scottish nationalism in a good way, and desire for independence?
I didn't. I think you did, though, didn't you?
I did a little bit, but I didn't really think about it until we travelled a lot. It was only really when we travelled a lot and you kind of got a sense of being in a different country, and then kind of realised that the political status of Scotland is an anomaly, and it's actually kind of weird to have the laws mostly made up in a different country. I mean, I do kind of see England, Scotland and Wales as different countries, so yeah, it was really when we travelled that I started to feel quite passionate about it, I suppose.
Do you think there's a sort of state of Scotland as a country and how it works and how society works? Do you think it's in a better or worse place than when you started Mogwai?
I think it's probably better. I think that there's probably Scottish people generally a bit more comfortable.
There's a bit more control over what we do because of the devolved government. We can do things which we weren't able to do before, which is quite nice.
But you want to go further and have full independence, and
Why not?
you think
It's
that-
nice having free prescriptions and university fees and stuff, but it would be good to have decisions over invading countries and stuff like that. I think Ireland's getting a bit too big for their boots. take them out.
Maybe Scotland will become independent. We can invade.
Yeah,
England
you
can
can do
invade.
that.
England could invade.
Yeah. So if you've got the nuclear
It's happened
submarines,
before.
that'd be a bad idea.
Aye.
Yeah. I'd quite like you to have them back.
Yeah, get them back.
As long as you point them in the other direction.
What's been one of the biggest change in Scottish music, do you think? So that was one of the things when you came out. There was all these bands that were really interesting were Scotland based. It was a real counter to particularly the crap end of Britpop, which was London and Manchester. How do you think it's changed the perception of Scottish music and how it sees itself over the years?
I think the music's always been very independent. I mean, obviously culture and politics are very different, but the Scottish music scene has always had its own thing, a lot to do with the fact that certainly when we started the band it was quite rare for people to pay much attention. That's one of the reasons that there was so many DIY labels, like bands like Biss and the Delgados were all putting out their own records, and I think that was because there wasn't much point in waiting for someone else to do it for you. So I don't think that's changed. I think that's something that was going on from before we even started.
And then the question that I think I would say myself and a lot of English people I know, we're slightly concerned that if Scotland's independent, then England's just doomed to eternal Tory rule, which is a fairly bleak prospect. So don't go, please.
But
Just come up.
That would
You're
be
welcome.
bleak.
Come on up.
But the sums don't actually point to that happening at all. I think
Really?
there's only been once in the last 60 years that the Scottish votes made any difference to the outcome of
Oh,
a
that's right.
Westminster election.
Yeah.
In fact, to be honest, if I was English and lived in England, I'd be happier that the Scottish MPs weren't affecting laws that the people who voted for them aren't affected by, which is incredibly unfair, and people have kind of stopped talking about because the focus is on Scotland, but the current constitutional setup is pretty unfair on the people in England and Wales as well.
That's a good point. And what about Alex Salmon? What do you think of him? I mean, I always he seems like a strange man sucking up to Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
He's a politician. They always do these things.
Perhaps a means to an end.
Yeah.
Right.
As politicians go, he's not the worst, but I don't think anyone's going to get to that position without having to suck up to some grimy people.
Yeah. Okay, and then we had a request come in that as it's Burns night, right, can you play Christmas Steps as a treat?
Did it last night. Hey, what's that got to do with Burns?
What?
I think it's Burns night. Barry should,
Aye.
I don't know, say a poem, do the ode to the haggis or
Luke
something.
Sutherland can probably do one. He knows
Luke?
a lot of Burns.
Does
he was
he?
shouting at us in
Did
the
it
van
in the van
yesterday.
yesterday?
Shouting really loudly. It's great amusing. But we've got
I'm
haggis
quite
tonight
tempted.
at
Aye, the
the
kid
haggis
making
eating,
his
they've got us
haggis.
haggis and veggie haggis for Stuart.
It would be good to put in the set list. Luke recites Burns. We just stop and look, wait for him to do it.
He wouldn't do it. He
He
only does it
would,
spontaneously. Didn't take requests.
He'll only do Burns spontaneously.